19th, 1775, the War of Independence began, and Lynnfield's militia, under the command of Captain Nathaniel Bancroft, was in the thick of the fighting on that very first day. In a later video, we'll discuss those events, but for now we'll examine the 3 members of the little company who did not return. Daniel Townsend is the most well-known. A majority of people in Lynnfield have at least heard his name, even if they don't know his background. There is a plaque at his house, there's a marker at his birthplace, and there's an award named for him bestowed by the Select Board. Let's visit some of those spots. Records show that he was born right here on Chestnut Street in this house in 1738. It's today called the Needham Townsend House. Now right over here, you can see that the street has been named for him, Townsend Road. Below that is a memorial marker put up there by the Lynnfield Veterans Services. Now he didn't live here as an adult. That's in another part of town. Let's take a ride down to the corner of Summer and Walnut Streets. The Townsend family lived in a house that sat here until 1899, when it was struck by lightning and it burned to the ground. The 36-year-old Daniel lived here with his wife Zerviah and their 5 children. Zerviah describes the turmoil out in the street when Daniel's brother Thomas returned from Menotomy, today Arlington, with her husband's body. It was brought into the finest room and even had an honor guard made up of members of Bancroft's company. Here is the plaque. This plaque was put here in 1930, but it disappeared shortly after that, and for a long time it was just an empty spot in the rock. In 1961, while rummaging through the cellar, one of the boys in the house found it when it was rededicated in a ceremony on April 19, 1961, complete with a ride of Martin Herrick coming up. Now, let's take a quick walk down Summer Street. Here's where Thomas Hadley lived, practically next door neighbors with the Townsends. Hadley was a little older and he lived alone. His children died at a young age, and in another tragedy, his wife drowned in the mill pond. He was crossing the ice. As with Townsend, he was slain at the Jason Russell House in Arlington, but his body was never returned to town. There was no one here waiting for him, and no one to bring him back. Initially, he was buried behind the Jason Russell House, but was later reinterred in the cemetery in Arlington. Also killed at the Jason Russell House was William Flint of South Lynnfield. Unfortunately, we know little of Flint's life and death, although there is a monument in the Arlington Cemetery to Hadley and Flint, as well as the others killed that day. As I said, unfortunately, we know next to nothing about William Flint, our final victim. For his story to be told, we may have to wait for some future historian. In the next episode, we'll visit some of the spots that still exist.